Okay, cool. Hi, also from me. I have to talk, or I have the lucky guy to talk about the documentations, and I have talked about them in our panel discussion. Also, a little bit about me first. I'm co-initiator, I'm the developer, I have 2 kids and a wife. I'm BPMN coach since 8 years now, process automation developer and open source fan. So far, so good. Yeah, what is about the documentation when we fork? We don't forget them, and I will tell you a little bit what is necessary, why is this good to get them also aware, because it was one of my parts in the last 12 months to handle this documentation, to improve it, and I will tell you a bit about what we have done there and what we have reached. First steps, what we have done is to looking out what is there for what has done Camunda in the documentation, what is the tooling, what was the situation there. And the first surprise for me was that there was 3 repositories to figure out for one documentation page. Because when you remember, there was a bit main menu in the top of the documentation, and this was splitting up in different documentation, and they have a hidden build pipeline anywhere inside, which is making one documentation system out of them. And this was the reason for me to say we need another way. And so we are going through the old documentation, which means the Camunda 7 documentation, which is still available and is alive. And then after we are going there through this documentation, we decided to use a new software. And I will tell you a bit what we have using and what we have done there. What was necessary for this new software? What we have using? We have using Docusaurus. It's also an open source system and a framework which handles markup files. But on the other side, you need to getting very clean or very structured markup files. And there were a situation where we have to clean up a lot of markup files from the Camunda documentation. So we have to repair links because we have switched a little bit the structure and the situation of the main root folder, so I will say, and so we have to fix a lot of broken links and so on. Then we want to have a new search function because in the new system there have to be one. And then we have the challenge to getting our JavaDocs and REST API specifications in the documentation, which will be building with the build pipeline of the main project of the engine. And so Carsten and I was talking about, and he has finding a way to push the documentation or the specification files for the JavaDocs and REST APIs in special folders, and I have linked them into the folder from the documentation. So we have now the connection and we see them, and you have getting all current versions of these points here. Yeah, it was a long night sometimes to building and fixing some things, and then we take the success step by step. What we do here is we run this on our own server. We have an own small VM there. And for the search function, we have also decided to go in type sense and not the other one. I have missed the name, but there's an community node. It's a company search function, which is also in often documentation for search function. But TypeSense is completely free, and we can hosting them by our own. We have a small TypeSense server, a Docker container, and with our build pipeline, which we're getting from Maxime, thank you for this when you're listening, because this was very helpful for us to getting a very good way to develop changes in the documentation. And in the build pipeline, in the beginning, when we have not a search situation there, then we're needing only 10 seconds or 20 seconds, but now we're needing 2 or 3 minutes because we're building every time the new index for the search, and we're pushing them into the TypeSense server for getting this. What is very good for us is it is all open source because we want to take in care there. We don't want to go into any other situations. And for this, we have no dependency on license or something else. Yeah, but why documentation matters? We have talking in the panel discussion about the situation. We have their space to tell what is Operaton doing, what you can do with Operaton, and also how you can contribute. And this is a part which we are missing, and I will talk about. But on the other side, a good documentation helps us to find guys which want to help, because they can find the way into the documentation, into the project. And so there are statistics outside where saying when you have a good documentation, you have a better door open for the people who finding out. Because one point we're looking for a lot of people is the repository, the page, the main website or web page, and the documentation. And when this is good, and when you can finding what you search for, or you have search problems, then yeah, it's better to finding a good way there. And so contributors looking for documentation because they need help. A lot of documentation is often in the repository in the for the engine, but we have to switch them over, I think, in the future, because there is this better searchable, and we can bring up more context to the contribution situation there. Genau. And the documentation is also helping for maintaining and preserve the knowledge when we have a situation that contributor will leaving the project. So what we have heard here with the ADR in the last talk is also that we getting, when we get developing feature, the situation to say, yes, we have to bring up also the part of the documentation. We have to setting down this knowledge from the developer or from the feature requests to the documentation so that we can preserve it for the future and for other situations. So, yeah. And here's some small statistic situation and a very interesting article on the Molstad page, which was about when can an open source project winning or failing. And one part or one chapter there inside is documentation, which needs, when you have a good documentation and you have regular updates, this is a trust level what you can show. In the moment on our page, when you take a look, we have this yellow banner in the top. I think, Steven, it was your banner. Thank you for this. We will remove it in the next few weeks. Yeah, but it was very helpful for say, okay, we are work in progress here, and now we're coming step by step to a very good level to say we have for this now a situation where we can work with, where we can based on in the future. And so we're getting clear signals also for the active maintenance. We have the behavior, the understandable or the predictable behavior situation. User know what is to expecting for situations when I working with this product, this software or something else. And we have not the situation for I don't know where to go. I have no issue. I have an issue, but I don't know when. And so the documentation, I think, is a good point to say, here you can find an answer for your situations. Or, for example, you can find information where you can go further for getting solutions for your situations. So, we are not done yet. This is my last chapter in my slides. So I'll be getting in the timeline back after the last one. One big point what we have is the pictures are the old one. There's everyone the Camunda logo, and I have starting setting up an engine and creating process models, and so. But there are hundreds of pictures. When someone has some wine at home, some time in the evening, and a good movie to look, have fun and help. Because there is a lot of things to replace. Take a look and you can see where pictures are. There's a very, very huge amount of pictures which we have to change with our latest version. And we can using our current cockpit situation because that's defined, that's our state. We have renaming the Camunda cockpit to Operaton in the top left corner. And we have a little bit changing the colors. And so, yeah, make screenshots from them so that we're getting this last chapter done there. Also, one of the last big pictures there. And then therefore is an issue also in our repository is the migration guide, because that's one of the biggest part currently where the people are talking about. we want to setting up a step-by-step migration guide in the documentation where the people can find this help when they want to starting with Operaton, or they have an, oh no, not starting, but when they have an old Camunda situation and then they want to stay going over to Operaton. And so we have to setting up this for the next chapter. Cool. Then, yeah, I mentioned this already in our discussion, in the panel discussion. What is not in the Camunda documentation also, but after I remember about the slides and the documentation and the situation, how we contribute currently and how I see contribution from outside, normally way is to go into the repository, looking for a contribute MD file and looking what is there inside. But this is the technical stuff. And it's a limited situation, it's not searchable, it's not the best, but it's a beginning. And I think we need a very good point in the documentation to bring this up also as a separate chapter in our documentation, that developer who not want using Operaton for processes or something, they only want to contribute, they want to review something, and they want to know, how can I do a review? This is a question which we need an FAQ section. And this is a very other big point, what we want to set up here. Which means we have a lot of things to do. My last slide, join us. Let us improve together the documentation, like the guy before me mentioned. Let us do it together. Happy to welcome you, and I'm happy to see you in our Slack channel. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Yes, maybe. Is about the license of the documentation, is it the same as the source code? Is it Apache 2, or how is that handled?
A good question. I think this is, no, this is a creative license. This is a creative license 3.0, anything else then.
We actually may copy it, right?
This was one big point in the beginning, to look, are we allowed to copy the repository of Camunda? This was what you mentioned with your question. Yes, this was, we have reading and asking, and so yes. Okay. This is there also. Camunda license is also under the Creative Commons license 3.0 anywhere.
Okay.
There is a lot of pictures to correct in documentation. Do you think it is possible to create process in Operaton with AI support to correct it automatically?
You mean to make screenshots automatically with the robot framework?
To remove Camunda logo.
I think we need a slice of pizza and you need to talk with Markus. But then you were welcome to bring up this idea. I have no idea if this will be possible, because we need screenshots here from outside. We need an engine which is running, and then you need a second engine to make screenshots, for example, for your idea. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Stephen?
Yeah, I was thinking about in that way. I'm willing to host a specific instance for document and purposes. So we have a actual instance running, publicly available.
Okay, which everyone can make a picture there.
Yeah.
Oh, cool idea.
And you can, because I was thinking, give me the assets folder. Mm-hmm. I will look through all those images and take fresh screenshots from that particular instance, replace the JPEG, PNG files or whatever, and that's done. But I'm willing to host
Stephen, we need to talk about. Yeah. Thank you for this. Yeah.
One more?
Yeah, there was in the middle one. Okay, cool. Okay. We can talk later about this. Thank you very much.
So there's also the forum from Camunda, where also a lot of questions were answered. For example, any effort in scraping that and
the form builder, you mean?
No, the forum.
The forum.
Yeah, for the common. Yeah, from the common.
Use maybe AI to parse through that and create valuable information.
Creating something out of the forum to bring them up. Yes, absolutely.
Camunda will probably shut that down or remove Camunda 7 questions maybe at some point.
And yeah.
Oh. There's to take care about the content of the forum. Yeah, we can do it with a hidden bot to scan this. But yeah, I get your question. You want to go to the forum of. Yeah, but a good question. Okay, thank you.